Thank you for joining us. Today is really a sad day because whenever you see, loss of life and interruption in daily life and especially in global supply chain, it really never is a great day. So today I really want to discuss with you what's going on, especially in the Middle East, and how that is going to impact our global supply chain and our business. Before I really share with you my opinion, because I have been a student of global supply chain as well as a student of global relations, and I really try to understand what's going on in different countries and how that is going to impact, our overall economy and supply chain in particular. I was head of global supply chain for 20 plus years in corporate America, and I travel around the globe. And especially, I have a background and focus in Middle East and Southeast Asia, and also even Far East Asia. So I really think it is really a subject very near and dear to my heart. So I thought I share my thoughts and my hopes and my analysis with you, and that might become somewhat helpful. So before I share analysis, I let me share a little bit of disappointment that I don't know. As an American, and especially as an American with some Asian background, I'm really sad. And being a human being with sensitive heart, I'm very very sad about this all loss of life, and I'm a very anti-war person, and that's the reason, honestly, I among many other businessmen like Trump because I thought Trump is a very anti-war person and he's very pro-business, leader. But I'm very disappointed that he really, uh, I think he just got out of his path because of uh, some misleading from some of his allies, some global allies. It seems to me that we as American fighting wars we don't really need to, and that's what Trump was all about in the first and second Gulf War. Trump was very much against, in third-party wars and in all kind of wars. He wanted to even settle issues with Russia without war, and even Ukraine issue without war. But here we are, starting a war which we really didn't have to start. If we were not part of this war could have been totally avoided. And especially Oman played a very good role, and they were actually able to achieve for us better deal than what Obama had. And unfortunately, we really, in the midst of the negotiation, we started really, going toward the war, which is never good. It's never good. War is never the solution. Now, let me just talk to you about the global supply chain. So, as we have been told as American that this is going to be quick shock and awe, and if you remember, Bush said the same thing. It would be quick shock and awe in Iraq, and you know what happened in Iraq. Even though Iraq did not have a leader where who gravitas people, who did not have lots of people support. He has really misled his people. He has lost his people support. And also, he did not really have any weapons of mass destruction and even any good army or, any stockpile of ammunition. But Iran, on the other hand, has very, very strong following of their leadership. It will be very, very difficult to almost impossible to really totally abolish this leadership because they have different layers set up already. And they have actually multiple layers. They have their electoral side and then they have their spiritual side. And both have armies and both have, very good stronghold. I mean, it doesn't seem likely. And then, of course, um, Israel has been telling us that we can eradicate that and we have deep penetration. No doubt, Israel has done a lot of work to create deep penetration in Iran. And there are a lot of turmoils in all side of Iran, especially on the Turkish border, on the Pakistan border, on the in the northeast, northwest, you know, but there are areas which are kind of no man's land, so to speak, and there are population which have their own little governorship where you could really build some assets. But the reality on the ground is the Iran as whole has been a very, very strong and long history nation that has been there for a very long time. They have had many wars, but I don't know how many of you know that Iran used to be one of the largest world power, and then they became under the, of course, they had their competition with Byzantine Empire, and then they defeated Byzantine Empire once, and then they were defeated, and then the whole Ottoman Empire came, the Muslim Empire came, and since then they have been a very stronghold of Shia Muslim population and very good following. And as you know, that even though Israel tried, but they miserably failed in the last few months ago when they tried to create riots and independence. That was, very successfully curbed by the Iranian government. So now thinking that we can eradicate the leadership and somehow we can, we can change the regime, it doesn't look very probable to me. And then also Iran has a very good, strong stockpile of, missiles, and then their army and all that. Yes, they don't have a lot of air power, but they also have very good, missile system. So it's not going to be easy to bring Iran down to their knees. It's just not going to be easy. And unfortunately, it's going to be a great bloodshed in the whole world. I mean, look what's happening. I mean, Pakistan had a very big riot, and over 10 people have been killed. Then people got killed in UAE, and UAE, which is really like the global financial hub, so to speak, and considered a very peaceful place. And there, and that's the largest airport in the world, is really halted. The one of the, I think, the best hotel, which is the seven-star hotel, is Burj Al Khalifa. That's been hit. There are other hotels been hit. The whole UAE is really in turmoil. Then Qatar, Kuwait, even Saudi Arabia, and lots of other countries getting impacted. Now let's talk about the global supply chain. So Strait of Hormuz uh, basically is a very narrow path between Oman and Iran. And basically, Oman, for that reason, has been trying very hard that this, war doesn't go for long or doesn't even start. And Oman was trying very hard, and Oman even sent their foreign minister to United States, who thought that they were having a great success because they got better offer from Iranians than what was offered in the Obama regime. But and they thought they would be very successful. Unfortunately, uh, war broke, and now the Strait of Hormuz is halted. Now, bear in mind, 20% of world oil and gas supply comes from Strait of Hormuz. And yes, we don't get much oil from them, and we have our own reserves as well. So we may not see that much impact, even though I believe we will see impact, and I'll just explain in a few minutes. But many of the countries in that region will see a major impact. I mean, Pakistan's 60% oil and gas comes from Strait of Hormuz through Qatar. Uh, India's very big uh, import come through that. Bangladesh, uh, and many countries in that region, and even China. China get over 20% supply, from Iran through Strait for Hormuz. So when China see that, and then all the insurance companies who actually insure all those tankers, lots of those insurance companies lie in Great Britain, and they have increased their insurance almost 50%. overnight. So now, can you imagine if the insurance go that high? They are saying that the barrel of oil could go to 130 to $300 per barrel. 130 to $300 per barrel. Can you imagine the impact on the economy and supply chain? I mean, it's going to be devastating. I mean, the trade war itself has already put a very negative impact in our global economy, but also on the pocket of local population in America. I mean, Trump thought somehow that trade increasing, tariff is going to just solve a lot of problems. Yeah, sure enough, maybe government has made money, but everything is going higher because we live in a global village. We don't produce everything ourselves. Matter of fact, we are a country that really consume most of the world resources, and our resources come from all around the globe. I mean, many times we don't even make our own plastic bottles. We don't even make the caps of the bottles. So hence we cannot even produce our own water bottles. So I mean, set aside anything else. So all the materials, raw materials, have been going up in the last a year or so. They have been going up. Whereas all businessmen like me thought that, or most of the businessmen thought when Trump came, that the supply chain will be better because Trump is a businessman, and the prices will go down, the interest rate will go down. Guess what happened? The commodity prices have not come down. The grocery prices have not come down. And matter of fact, they have gone up. And now you will see they will further go up. Trade brought prices up because we didn't realize that when we increase tariff on Canada, when we increase tariff on China, when we increase tariff in India or any other country, we get the goods back, then we end up paying double. I mean, I used to get a bat, Imran Khan's bat from Pakistan, without any tariff, to do auction and raise funds, a charity in Boston. And this time, that bat cost us $100 tariff. Now, the bat itself was, given free to raise funds, but now we had to pay that $100. So just imagine that if and the bat value without signature is not even $50. So you're paying 200 times price for just tariff. So it's very, very important that we look at the consequences. And sometimes we don't, we don't look at the consequences, and we don't really play the impact of war on global economy, on global supply chain, and definitely not on the human toll. We think that if our, soldiers are safe, then we are safe. First of all, unfortunately, our soldiers are not safe too. We have some reported death of our soldiers too. But the point is that humans are human. No matter where they live, no matter where they are, human life is a human life. And supply chain is a supply chain. We do not live in isolation. We live in global village. And then, as the Strait of Hormuz is closed, and also there is a major impact on airline industry, and all the movement of people and goods is seeing major impact just in the last few days. Imagine if this war continue, and I do not foresee that this war will be halted anytime soon, unless our country is willing to understand the impact of war. I unfortunately do not see, because of all the egos involved and all the policies involved, I really don't see this war ending soon. And if this war does not end soon, we'll see a major disaster of human lives and global supply chain. And lots of countries will see lots of poverty and hunger and consequences which are not really seen right now. Imagine if these countries who are already on the brink of bankruptcy. I mean, Pakistan's economy is very fragile. They are on the brink of bankruptcy. They have very little resources, very little funds. If they have to pay double or triple for their gas, what's going to happen? And if they cannot get through Strait of Hormuz and from the Middle East, they're going to try to get it from, other countries like Russia and whatnot. That will also impact our influence. And unfortunately, Pakistan and Afghanistan are also uh, in the war. And then India is siding with Israel, and India is also having major difficulty in the oil and gas, supply. What's going to happen? There's 1.4 billion people in India. There are 1.4 billion people in China. There are 250 million people in Pakistan. These countries, Afghanistan, 170. There are people. These countries are very densely populated countries, and then just in that region, you have half of the population or more of the whole world. Then what are you going to do? There is going to be a major pressure on the US policies, US government, and also on the US economy, and definitely on the US supply chain if this war continues. So we all hope that this war does not continue, and sanity prevail, and egos and just war for no reasons, and war for regional impact. It's unfortunate that Netanyahu and Israel is trying to look for more and more and more and more, and then they name it safety and security. Come on, look at what they have done in other countries. Look what they have done in Gaza. I mean, they do not really see the value of humanity. And if they do not see value of humanity and don't see value of anything else beyond their own politics, then unfortunately, we as global leaders need to see that, and we need to, encourage our people to be, you know, the peacemakers, not war makers. And that's what we hoped from our regime. Unfortunately, it's going in a wrong direction. And I would say, may God help us all, and may God give us strength that we can write to our leaders to not prolong this war and stop this war as soon as possible. May God bless you all. Be safe.